So I'm back at St James's Church in South Anston, and this is Paradise Corner where John Wesley preached. And what I really want to emphasise the point is, I think we're going through a great awakening where everybody's going to wake up to the truth. It's not what we're being told. And when people wake up to the truth, things will change. It's a slow process, but I think it'll happen quicker and quicker. I don't believe in religion. I don't believe Jesus was the Son of God any more than you or me. I believe that at the very most Jesus was somebody who was very aware and awake before his time. But I do believe the New Testament was written by the Romans through a guy called Josephus, and they wanted to incorporate the Jews into their cult, as you would say. So they wrote the New Testament, and it sort of mirrors everything in the Old Testament. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do an audit of St James's Church, and this is from some work by Dora Vernon. She's noticed something on the gravestones previously, that there's a J in front, not a 1, so 1700 is J 1700, and she thinks that is because J stands for Julian calendar after Julius Caesar. So it's like 1793 had a J in front, so it was J 793. So that meant that it's really only the year 793, not 1793. The J changed to a 1, and then they added 1,000 years. And I'll go with that until proven otherwise, but there is some information in the graveyards, and that's what I'm digging up on. I'm not into the death side of things at all. So this is a gate to St James's. It's looking a bit tatty around here. We had a society, I'm trying to think what they call them now. They came around and cleaned up historical sites and various other things, and it's all died. Like the History Society's died, which is a real shame. But what I'm going to point out to people here is, if you come in here, you can see the deaths from the First World War. And across here, they're mostly guys, very few ladies on here. And the point is, there was only about 2,000 people living in Anston at the time. And look at the deaths of the people from round here. So just think about that when you want other people to go to war. It's not you going to give your life, is it? And that's a good reminder, I think. And then look in comparison. That's the deaths from the Second World War. And I haven't even got all the deaths from the First World War. There's some more here as well. So look at that as that. And that as a proportion of deaths. When you're thinking only 2,000 people lived in sort of the Anston parish, they're the deaths. So it is a beautiful church. I mean, could you get a better picture than that? Now, both my sisters were christened here, married here. I was christened at Handsworth Church, because my parents came from Handsworth, and I was born out there. Well, I was born in Sheffield, but we lived out there at Woodhouse for the first 2 years. And I went to Sunday school, went to Pathfinders, which was the older version for youths. Came to church on a regular basis with the Scouts and with church. But I've never really been a religious person. What I'll do is I go around the church building first. Now there was St James's Church, I don't know if the church still own it or not, I suspect they do, but this is an add-on, this bit. If you look at this bit there, that's an add-on. And if I remember rightly, I think the bit in the middle is, but it looks as though it's been blended in. I know, it's possibly the right hand side isn't, so where you can see the door in the middle, that's the extension, and then on the left hand side that was like the entranceway into the church that's existed for a long time. This church goes back to Saxon times, if history's true. Now up here was the footpath to the old rectory. It wasn't just a rectory, there was also some lovely, like a big garden, and they used to have fairs and things there. And it's a real shame the church decided to actually knock it down and sell it off for all these houses here to be built on. It was an asset to the community that's gone. Now, when you think about it, the churches belong to us. We've put the money in over the years through collections and various other things. They have no right to actually do that, sell land off, because all they've done is put that into their investment portfolio for even more money. They've got billions of pounds in their investment portfolios, and the Archbishop of Canterbury, he's been chosen to be the Archbishop for one thing, because he used to be an oil magnate. He was investing money. So that's what he's there for, is to invest money. He's not spiritual one bit. He's everything but a spiritual person. But it is a beautiful church. And some people say that churches were something else before they became churches. Said that they were energy generating centres. I need more evidence on it, but you know, things sort of point towards things like that. You can see a few gargoyles up here. They're not particularly bad on this church. As churches go, it's quite a nice church. Now, Dora said that she thinks she saw a cloud on my last one at St George's at Woodsets, but I believe, but that's my belief, it was a smudge on my camera lens, because I've been having problems with the automatic camera lens. But if anything more appears today, but it's a beautiful sunny day, I can't imagine being too many spooks out today. No, I'm not a disbeliever in ghosts and all that sort of thing. I do believe that's energy that's been left. But I've never to this day seen any spooky occurrences. I've walked round Road Abbey very late at night, that late at night that I've had to have a torch to go back through the woods, King's Wood, and I've never seen anything at all. Across there where you can see Modern Bills was farm owned by Charlie Scowley. He was one of the lay preachers, I think they call them. And quite interesting on this side is where the wealthy people were buried. What I'm doing is I'm mentioning Dora Vernon for a reason, because she's done a lot of investigation on it and she deserves the credit on it. And that is, what she's noticed is that there's a lot of Jewish people buried in some of the cemeteries around Anston and various other places, and she thinks that they were Jewish merchants. And that's what we were doing in Sheffield. We went around Sheffield yesterday and found some places up the back end of Sheffield towards the university near St George's Church, and there was sort of Jewish symbols everywhere. So I'm hoping I'm going slow enough on these for people to stop and read them, because last time I went round St George's and I went a bit quick. But I did go a bit quick because I felt very uncomfortable with the people in the church, and it felt uncomfortable, very uncomfortable. It wasn't the graveyard that spooked me out, it was the people actually in the church. We've got unmarked graves around here. So we've got a grave from 1800, that's the earliest one I've found so far, but I've got one here, I've got a J grave in this graveyard, so but what I did notice the other day is this down here. I don't know if there's a crypt, whether it's a modern heating system on it, because it does look concrete, as though it's a more modern structure. But I'm not sure if I'm going to find the J grave today, because that's 1901. I think it was on the other side of the church, but I've always been looking at the symbology on a lot of these. But one thing I've noticed, I've not ever found a grave before the 1700s. I found some in 1720, but if it's before 1750, the graves tend to have J 750 on them, not 1750. I think I'll have to go up the other side of the church, but I just can't work this out, why we have unmarked graves, because I just can't believe these gravestones deteriorate this quickly. I mean, if the earliest grave I'm finding is 1720 and you can read them, why are these completely obscured? I don't know if that was always like that. But you can tend to get a feel for where the earlier graves are, and I think they're up the top end. These are all like 1800s. Well, that's an 1849 there. Everything tends to have got grouped together. So if these are 1868s, 1869, there's absolutely no reason why that gravestone will be completely blank, because that gravestone's going to be roughly around the 1860s. When we went round St George's Church yesterday in Sheffield near the uni, it's now a psychology department, what we found is that the gravestones went from about 1830 to 1870. The church was built, I think, about 1850 or so. But what we've noticed is that a lot of the gravestones you could get a lot more people actually on the gravestones in if they were crypts or whatever, and they'd never been written on. I found out that Sheffield, well, I didn't find out, but Dora found out that Sheffield City Council, or Sheffield or the government made a law that you couldn't bury people within the city anymore from a certain date. So even though there was space for them, they never did it. So as I say, these are all around the 1860, 1850, 1874s. A bit more symbology there. There's absolutely no reason for blank gravestones. Got a 1907 one there. So what's going on with these blank gravestones? They're roughly 1850 to 1870. Why are they blank? You find out everything's grouped together. It helps having worked in telecoms to pick out sort of numbers very quickly. I just can't remember a mobile number. (1860). So I reckon on this side of the church you're talking probably on a 50-year thing, 50-year span, and so many blank gravestones. One's a bit early, 1834, but they tend to have dug them in a certain area. I suppose so they can get more people in here, but there's just so many blank gravestones. It's probably the one with the most blank gravestones I've ever seen. The gravestones on this side of the church are much more recent. We're going up to a 1791 one now. Thinks people wanted to be remembered, and then this is what the graves are like, covered in black currants or whatever. (1878). I know one of my granddads is, I think his wife's buried at Wadsley, and I could not find the grave. Just like this, but much worse. See no writing on that one. So the gravestones are 1801 there, that's getting older. 1810. I'm guessing these are child graves. Can anybody explain why there's so many of these graves just totally not got no writing on them? This church has been around since about 1000, so they didn't start burying people around the church for 700 years. These are all unmarked. And we're getting a bit older, moving to a more older one now, 1798. I think I'm close to the J ones. I mean, we've got 1967 one there, and so I'm going a bit colder again, so I'm going away. Then more unmarked ones. (1896). Right, so we've got an 1842, so that's still quite (1822). We're getting a bit older here. I think this is a J1 here, if I'm right. Yeah, that's a J1. So I'll just zoom in on that. Just struggling to see it a bit on the screen. You'd probably see it better. Well, what I'm going to do is say that you can see J7 something on there. I think it's J765. So why don't it say 1765? It says J765. If you blow that up, you should be able to see that. (1763) there. Oh, that's J again. Look there. So I thought, yeah, J763. Why is that not saying 1763? But that's about the only 1700 ones from what I can remember. I found those two the other night, took photos of them. That's worn away. Yeah, I've come back there. But now I think as I move away now from the church again, we'll not find anything. So I can't believe it, in a graveyard like this there's only 2 gravestones in the 1700s. But like I said, both of those are marked as J 1700s. 896. That's a really strange one there. Looks like it's got a dollar sign on it. But that must be some symbology of some kind. But walking through this graveyard as a kid late at night at Vicarage wasn't really nice. On the odd occasion I did. So I think basically most of these are now much more recent graves. Yeah, that's it. So it's very strange, just 2 gravestones in the 1700s that I can find. Just seeing if there's any more interesting graves. But I mean there's a bit of symbology on this one. Oh, that's 1902. It's much further away from the church and the deaths are much more recent. I'll not find anything over here. Another one of those dollar signs on the gravestone. There's nothing to see down here at all. They're all more recent graves. Makes me wonder what was dug up under here. This is a recent car park. Totally ruins the sort of outlook of the church, this. So there must have been graves, well, I'm assuming there were probably graves under here which are lifted. So I can't believe there's only that sort of path up there to the church and then a path up there to the vicarage, so all this area, I can't believe it weren't covered in graves. Kind of removed history, if there was anything of significance there. It's 1848 there. These are all mostly unmarked, nothing on them. It's just quite unbelievable. You've got gravestones in the middle of them that you can see like 1887 on them. And there's no reason for the gravestones either side to be completely worn out. I found somebody here, Jean Mary Wells. Oh, but it's more recent, 2008 as well. I don't know anybody called Mary Jean Wells, even though that's my surname. So very strange that all these graves, which I'm going to say is going to be from the same sort of era, 1870s roughly. Some are just completely. Then I think this is probably more possibly children, but it's more modern than that. I say this video won't be most people's cup of tea unless you're really interested in the symbology All this J notation on graves that just doesn't seem right. So I'm going to call it a day with this. So I hope that's, if anybody's interested in it, to give you some information. If you're not, you just stop the video. I understand that as well, because I wasn't one for walking around graveyards. So that's it, over and out.